What's up, YouTube? Oh man, I know what the accusations going on about me. I know the Toontown SJW certainly didn't expect me to make this video, man. Because there's some Twitter shit. I don't have a fucking Twitter. I'm not gonna make a Twitter just to check this shit. But apparently it's more than just a fucking corporate class dibs fucking saying that I'm doing this pedophile shit. But apparently there's like a whole thread about me. I'm not going to go and check it out because personally, I really don't care. This video is a direct video response to Sperry. Most of y'all probably, forgot who the fuck he is, but he's basically an old soloer of the Toontown community. I checked his channel about 2 weeks ago. He's still doing rants and whatnot, and I actually got sent this video, actually. I'll link his video in the description below so nobody thinks I'm like degrading him or anything. This is just the way I talk about everybody. I'm a prick, I'm an asshole. This is my natural way of talking. And he made a video basically called actually, I already forgot the name of the video. Let me pull it up again real quick. Toontown community has a pedo problem. And basically what I'm going to call this video, because you guys know I just make shit on the fly, the world has a pedophile problem, not just Toontown. Although I might need to shorten that to pedo because I think putting pedophile in the title of any video will get your shit flagged and taken down. So I might change the title of that, but I'm going to get right to the point, okay? A lot of people gave me shit in one of my previous videos because I didn't witness an act of pedophilia, but I was told by somebody who I was cool with when I lived in that neighborhood. He basically claimed that he made an act of pedophilia when he got head from that 13-year-old girl. And a lot of people gave me shit for not reporting him to the police. Sperry said in the video that he knew at least 20 pedophiles. And he knew at least 5 that were YouTubers and streamers and content creators. I bet $1,000 that not a single one of you motherfuckers that gave me shit about not turning in the one that I knew, not a single one of y'all are going to give Sperry shit for not turning in the 20 that he claims he knows. But that's besides the point. I'm not really here to point out the Toontown's hypocrisy any more than necessary for this video. I'm going to get serious about this a little bit. I'm still going to talk shit, but I'm going to get serious a little bit. So, there was an individual who sent me an essay on Discord yesterday while I was at work, which speaking of which, this video is not going to be very long because I got work in an hour. I got to leave for work in an hour. He sent me an essay basically saying that I was absolutely correct in all the points I made in my video. But he was going to cut contact with me because he didn't like how I was morally justifying it. I didn't morally justify shit. Not once in the video did I mention anything about morals other than I don't think that it's right that stupid people should be allowed to have opinions and speak on matters they know nothing about. And I'm not saying that Sperry doesn't have some knowledge about this topic because he gave some personal stories in his video that you can clearly tell were hard for him to speak of. He basically was saying that he was a victim of pedophilia, and I'll give him credit, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. In the time that I've known Sperry, I always thought he was a wuss, but it was very brave of him for him to speak out about, because you can listen in the video and you can hear him having a hard time speaking about what happened to him. Now, he didn't go into too much details about the story, but those that were paying close attention to him can pretty much put 2 and 2 together about how far it went in his situation. So I'll give him credit. Men that are victims, and this is already gonna, I'm gonna start it off by already pointing out one problem, right? When people think of pedophiles, the stigma is automatically an older man with an underage girl. That's usually what the stigma is. That's what we've been brainwashed to believe is the most cases of pedophilia. Those may be the most vocal cases, but those are not the most cases. Okay? In some states, there are more women in prison for sexually related crimes than men. Okay? Just as what it is. So it's a serious issue on both sides. And it's not just a Toontown problem, it's a world problem. But even though Sperry was sharing his own personal experiences, I'm going to hammer home on the point that I always try to make to people. When you don't leave the house, you have a very skewed perspective of reality. And no offense to Sperry, a long time ago I knew him very well. You know, he basically had no free time to go outside because he spent his life basically studying all day for college. Now, I don't know what he's doing right now. Hopefully, he got what he desired because he's more than old enough to be in college by now. Since last time I talked to the guy, we were both in like high school and shit. So, he spent most of his free time studying for college, playing Toontown, studying for college, playing Toontown. So he wasn't really leaving the house all that much. Now, this isn't intended as slander. I have a point that I'm going with this. All right? A major point he was making in his video is that games like Toontown, because they are kids' games, that fucking word again, right? Because they are kids' games, it's easier for evil little pedophiles to come on these games and basically find little kids to manipulate. And he basically said that in the real world, there is no way in hell you would be able to get away with hanging around people younger than you. This is how I can tell he doesn't leave the house much. And anybody that agrees with that statement, that's how I can also tell you don't leave the house much. When I was 14 years old, there were a lot of adults that I hung around. Because in the real world, especially in lower class neighborhood. Don't anybody call me racist. I live in fucking Baltimore. Don't anybody call me racist for pointing out, lower income neighborhoods. Don't anybody call me racist for that shit. This is a serious video. So, when I was 14 years old, I hung around adults often. Because, in the real world, especially in low income neighborhoods, people that, they ain't got money like that, so they don't have, the fancy computers and the consoles and whatnot to just sit home and play video games, right? So they go outside, they socialize, they interact with their fellow human beings. At least that's how that was 10 years ago. Nowadays, when I'm driving around, unless I'm in like the hood part of Baltimore, I don't really see people going out like that anymore. But where I'm trying to go with this is he's saying that it's just abnormal to see adults hanging out with kids. No. Let's say I'm with a bunch of other 14-year-olds and we're all at the basketball court, we're hooping. All right, let's say some 21-year-old guy wants to come and get us hooping in. You think he's going to say, "Oh no, little fuckers, I'm going to wait until some adults get here"? No, he's going to hoop too. Because especially when it comes to sports like activities, younger people usually have an advantage over older people because most people stop training after they get out of high school. So they ain't going to be in shape like that. So, basketball, football, all that other shit, it's pretty normal, at least it was 10 years ago, to see adults and teenagers competing with each other because teenagers that were training for a sport had decently high chances of beating an out of shape adult in sports. I remember one time, and I'm going to keep it 100 with y'all. I'm going to just keep it 100 with y'all. I was bullying some kids at the park when I was 15 because, I was on a wrestling team, so I needed some people to practice my moves on. So there were these two guys that were close to my age. I was 15. They were like, they were 13, 14, 13 and 14, or 12 and 13. I don't remember which, but they were my age group. So yeah, we're wrestling. I'm basically beating the shit out of them. I knew they couldn't beat me, so I'm beating the shit out of them, right? So the guy Rodney, this guy, let's see, when I was 15, I think he was like 23, 22, 23, 24, around that age group. And he basically wasn't that, he was on some white knight shit. How about you pick on somebody your own size? Me, I ain't give a fuck. I'm like, what's up? So we start wrestling. I slammed the shit out of him. He's like, damn, dude, you're strong for a 15-year-old, or 14, however old I was. You're strong for a 14-year-old. And I'm like, nah, I'm not really all that strong. This is just what I do. I actually wrestle. And he didn't. He didn't have any fighting training, so he didn't know how to stop what was going to happen. Now, I'm not telling you guys these stories to brag, but these are just some real world examples of adults hanging around kids. At least 10 years ago, it was pretty normal, especially when you're talking about sports-centered events. You know, if everybody in the block is trying to play some football, and there's 20 of y'all, and you got 10 teenagers, if you got 15 teenagers and 5 adults, or 12 teenagers and 8 adults, or 12 adults and 8 teenagers, nobody in that community is going to say, hey guys, we don't want to look like pedophiles, so we're not going to play with the team. No, they're all going to play fucking football. Because at least where I grew up, at least 10 years ago, it was sink or swim. You were either going to play with the big boys and be fucking tough about it and have some fucking balls and compete with the big boys, or you were going to get fucking laughed off the football field, or laughed off the basketball court, or laughed off the wrestling mat for being a fucking wuss. Now, I'm not saying this to brag or to put anybody down, but he asked in the video, what is the solution? Before we can even get to a solution, we have to just stop lying. We have to stop lying to each other. We have to stop bullshitting each other. The whole reason I made that Truth About SJW, Toontown SJW's video, is because Toontown SJWs like to go around lying to people. In the picture that I posted in my previous video, the guy that was talking to Lou, and you know, the Clash people even came on the video trying to lie and say that Lou wasn't like a main part of the... Whatever. I'll get to that in a less important video, because this Clash bullshit isn't even that important, but this is. He didn't even challenge the statements Lou was making. He was basically helping spreading the lies. Toontown SJW, well, SJWs in particular, they don't really care about the truth. The guy that DM'd me the essay yesterday, he essentially admitted that I was telling the truth. But his problem was that I was morally justifying it. I wasn't morally justifying shit. I intentionally don't talk about my morals in videos, and I intentionally don't talk about my opinions in videos. I give it to you guys raw. I give you guys the truth, and I leave it to you guys to accept or reject it. Which, to my surprise, it seems like most of the people are actually accepting the truth. It's just a vocal minority that has a problem with it and are trying to bring me down. Because, you know, I mean, some people want to sub me, but these were, I mean, looking at the comments and looking at the view counts and whatnot, it seems like most people get what I'm saying. They're just too afraid to directly stand up to these SJWs. Don't worry, I will. So to get to a solution, we need to just stop lying to each other. We need to stop bullshitting each other. So let's stop lying to each other and acting like this is just an internet problem. That this is just a Toontown problem, that this is just, because he mentioned Smash, he basically only talked about online because his skewed perception of reality is that there's no way adults are hanging out with kids and teenagers in real life, and I'm sorry, that's just false, okay? 13-year-old boys that have hot teachers, that have raging hormones, teachers, female teachers that are pedophiles, you know? You don't think something's gonna happen? But this is what nobody wants to talk about, okay? I had an incident when I was 15 where, you know, one of my teachers was trying to, you know, make something happen. And I had no game, so I, you know, whatever, right? She's like, hey, do you need a ride home? And I'm like, nah, I got track practice. I'm going to go to track practice. And, you know, you guys know why she wanted to give me a ride home. But it is what it is, right? So this kind of stuff happens far more than people want to admit. And SJWs in particular, they're really only concerned about females. They don't give a fuck about men. So it's brave that Sperry spoke out about what he was speaking out about, because men that are victimized from this kind of stuff, they usually don't. They're usually afraid to say anything because they know they're going to get made fun of. Oh, you're really going to sit here and say that a woman raped you? What? Are you gay or something? Like, this is what you'll hear. You know? Go talk to any guy that's actually been raped. They won't talk about it. Or that has been sexually victimized. They won't talk about it. Because the stigma, especially if it was by a woman, especially if it was by an older woman. If you're 14 and a 20-year-old woman's making moves on you and she's attractive and you turn that down, you'll get made fun of. So we need to stop lying to each other. We need to just say what needs to be said. So what needs to be said? Alright, these last couple of minutes for the video, I'm going to say what needs to be said. Sperry asked, what's the solution? I'm going to give you guys the solution. So first of all, we need to stop lying to each other. We need to stop overfocusing. See, Toontown and SJWs in particular, they got an opinions problem. They always talk about opinions when opinions don't fucking matter. Your stupid opinions don't change what reality is. The reality is the world has a pedophile problem, not just Toontown. A bunch of people in my comments section were saying that there's no way, well, not in my comments section, they were saying this in other places, but they were basically saying there's no way a 13-year-old girl willingly gave an 18-year-old head. You should have reported that guy. She was clearly the victim. The part that I didn't mention in that story that I intentionally left out was that he was not her first sexual encounter, nor was he her last at that age. How many bodies do you think that 13-year-old girl had? If you guessed about 20, you are correct. These type of chicks keep a tab on how many men they've slept with. And a lot of them start doing it at a young age. So if we want a solution to the pedophile problem, we're going to have to address both sides of the problem. Do you have men that come on the internet just to prey on people? Yeah, you do. Do you have women that also do the same thing? Absolutely. Sperry talked about that in his video. But we got to look at the other side of the problem. Do you have underage men and females that intentionally go out of their way to seduce older adults? You know? This female in particular that I mentioned in a previous video, she didn't look like a normal 13-year-old. I'm going to keep it 100. She had the body of an adult, which is how she had so many bodies. You know? So, and when I typed in the comments, because again, people, these SJWs, they only want to get men in trouble. They don't want to get these bitches in trouble that are going out of their way to try and ruin men's lives, that are actively seducing guys, you know, while they're underage with the bodies that they have. They don't want to hold those chicks accountable. I told a story in the comments about how my 13-year-old cousin was caught with the distribution of child pornography because she was sending a bunch of nudes to men from her phone. And she got charged and arrested for that, and she's now a registered sex offender. And she's been one ever since she was 13. And people were commenting, that's a travesty of justice. You shouldn't charge a little kid. Why not? You guys want a solution, right? So, if you guys want a solution to the world pedophilia problem, we're going to need to tackle this from both angles. We're going to need to hold everybody accountable. The adults that are doing this shit and the kids that are doing this shit. Obviously, it's different if the kids are doing it against their will. Obviously. But if kids are doing it intentionally and they know what the fuck they're doing, understand something. I'm going to just keep it 100 with you guys. When somebody gets caught committing a crime, it's not their first time committing a crime. So if a 13-year-old girl has been caught sending nudes to people, it's not that 13-year-old girl's first time sending nudes to people. If a 13-year-old girl is caught giving head to a grown man, it's not her first time doing that. This is why I stress so hard that people need to leave the house and live in the real world. This internet Toontown shit is not the real world. Sperry wasn't saying anything too incorrect in his video, but when he was saying that you would never be allowed to get away with this in the real world, and that this happens more on the internet because certain people can come to kids games and pick and choose who they start. No, that is not the case at all. It happens often in the real world because in the real world, adults and teenagers are hanging around each other often. I mean, from fucking students fucking their coaches, a whole 9 yards, man. So if we want a solution, we gotta stop lying to each other. We gotta start being fully honest with each other. The reason I started changing my channel and taking it to this direction and just because for the last 10 years, I've been sugarcoating a lot of stuff. I'm not sugarcoating anything anymore. And it caused a backlash. Because I'm the only person in the whole Toontown community that'll tell anybody the raw truth, and not everybody can handle it. That's okay, though. I'll do this alone if I have to. Certain things need to be said. So we need to stop lying to each other. We got to start holding everybody accountable. Okay? If a police officer is trying to arrest somebody who's resisting arrest and he uses too much force, the SJWs are going to want to only get the police officer in trouble and not the dumb motherfucker that was resisting arrest in the first place. It's the same shit with this pedophilia crap. If an older man or woman is making moves on an older woman or man, on a younger woman and man, my bad, because the younger woman and man has been sending them pictures trying to seduce them and shit, these people need to be held accountable too. And these underage girls on Instagram that are like 13, 14-year-olds that are posting pictures in bikinis and shit, taking sexually explicit photos and videos and whatnot. I mean, one bitch, you guys probably know exactly who I'm talking about. She even has a fucking YouTube series where she's bragging about this shit, right? So we need to hold everybody accountable and not just one party. Now, I know this video is going to get disliked like a motherfucker because, once again, I just said something that the SJWs don't want to hear. You know? I'll probably get more fucking DMs. Frizzy, you were right, but morally, your fucking morals don't matter. Your opinions don't matter. You can think that it's morally incorrect for a fucking lion to maul a baby. Is that going to stop the fucking lion from mauling a baby? No! You stupid motherfuckers need to understand that your fucking opinions don't fucking matter to the real world. Reality doesn't change. The reality of the situation is your opinions don't mean jack shit. Here are the facts of the matter. Sorry I had to yell there, but like I said, this is a serious video. So I'm just going to stick with the facts. I don't talk about my morals. I don't talk about my opinions. But, you know, I saw Soggy Nacho's video and I added him on Discord. You know, hopefully he ain't a sensitive little bitch who will unadd me after I say this, but I saw his video. And, you know, he made a comment about the quote fucked up shit that I said, but he didn't talk about any of the fucked up shit that the Clash people said. This is what I mean about people lying to each other and being dishonest with each other. Just keep it 100. Call out all parties, not just one. SJWs only want to call out one party and not the other. They want to talk about the pedophile, but they don't want to talk about the fucking underage bitches that for years have been sending nudes on the internet. They don't want to hold those chicks accountable because the mentality is they're too young to know any better. Alright, what about these 14-year-old broads that already have children, that are teaching their children to do this shit? Are we still not going to hold them accountable? Where do you draw the line? Do you not hold a 9-year-old accountable if he intended to murder your grandmother? Like, where do you draw the line? If you want a solution, you got to send a message and start holding everybody accountable. There's a reason why I'm the only person that bothered showing the shit that Clash was doing. I don't give a fuck about that band. I don't give a fuck about Toontown. This ain't the real world. But a lot of people in the community do give a fuck about Toontown. And the reason they don't speak out about it is because they're afraid they'll get banned. See, they understand that their actions have consequences, and they're not willing to do the action if in their mind the consequence is too great. You guys see where I'm going with this? How do we have a solution? The solution is create a consequence for everybody so that nobody's doing this shit. You want to stop pedophilia? That's how you stop it. Hold both parties accountable. I guarantee you, if 2 million people got arrested, if 2 million chicks that are sending news on the internet got arrested, suddenly you would see a huge surge and you would see a huge drop in underage chicks encouraging this type of behavior. If 2 million teenage boys got arrested for sleeping with their teachers, guess what? You would see a sudden drop in that too. I'm not saying the teacher and the pedophile shouldn't be charged, but hey, man, we gotta hold both sides accountable, man. This video is probably gonna get 200 dislikes because, the Toontown people just can't handle this raw truth. But we need to keep it 100, man. This ain't just a Toontown problem. This ain't just a kids game, because none of you motherfuckers are kids, first of all. So we need to just stop lying and saying this is a kids game when no fucking kids play this game. We need to stop lying and acting like this is only a problem on the internet. It seems that way to this guy because this guy doesn't leave the fucking house. On a regular basis, I saw what you guys would consider inappropriate relationships. I saw it all the time because this is normal in real life. On my summer track team, I saw fucking chicks that were seniors dating guys that were in the 8th grade, and they did it in front of the coaches. Nobody said anything because this is normal in the real world, and probably because it was a woman doing it to a guy. But is it a problem? Well, who was going to say anything? That's the thing. And why did nobody say anything? Because both parties aren't being held accountable. The legal age of consent in most states is 16, not 18. That's another thing I wanted to clarify. So, this is another reason why you see this often in the real world. In Maryland, for example, the legal age of consent is 16. My 10th grade year, there was a chick, Jamersa. She would be calling her college boyfriend every fucking day in class. Nobody could do anything about it because she was of the legal age of consent. Now, you motherfuckers will consider 16 and 20 whatever to be inappropriate, but it's legally allowed here. But even if it wasn't legally allowed, let's say this was a state where the legal age of consent was 17. Would anybody have reported that chick to the police? No, because of the double standard. And there's probably going to be some SJWs in the comments right now that don't watch the video that are going to justify defending the woman because the woman is the victim. We need to hold everybody accountable. So I'm going to end the video now. Hopefully it renders and uploads by the time I get to work. We need to hold everybody accountable, man. You want a real solution? This is the real solution. So... And I know people are going to be surprised that I made this video because a lot of people think the accusations about me are true. And I'm going to keep it 100 with something else, right? This is something you really only learn when you have experience. There's something like 2 million rape kits that remain untested. Why? Because so many chicks lie about this stuff and so many guys, so many people lie about the pedophilia and the rape that the police should stop giving a fuck. So you got 2 million rape kits out there that aren't even tested. And even when you do try to get these people arrested, I had an incident, probably 3 years ago now, where there was a guy who I knew had child pornography on his computer. And he pissed me off for the last time. He did something to me. Well, not to me. He got close to somebody that I was close with just to use and manipulate them. He even called this individual not child porn, lolly porn. That's what he said. And this motherfucker I knew had child pornography on his computer. And I did try to get him arrested, but unfortunately I needed a witness. So I got a witness. And she basically wanted me to promise her that she wouldn't get arrested too, and I couldn't promise her that. They were both going to go to jail. So, unfortunately, nothing happened. So people wonder why, when people do get reported, why nothing gets done about it. This is why. It's probably going to sound like I contradicted my point of everybody should be held accountable. Because if everybody does start getting held accountable, certain people aren't going to want to speak up. But how you reduce this problem as a whole, you have to hold everybody accountable. If you only hold guys accountable, pedophile men accountable, and not the chicks that go out of their way to get these type of guys, then the chicks are going to keep doing it and you're going to keep having pedophiles pop up. If you hold both accountable, you kill two birds with one stone, and vice versa. Sperry focused specifically on women that were making moves on him. But yeah, I'm gonna end the video right now. And yeah, man, again, I'm a bit some money that all the people that gave me shit about not reporting the one guy that claimed he engaged in an act of pedophilia, no one's gonna give Sperry shit for the 20 or 30 pedophiles he claimed he knew in his video. I guarantee you that. Because people just are gonna hate me no matter what I say at this point. But yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. So yeah, real talk, man.